everybody. I've joined. If you can see my screen and my voice is. Good evening, everybody. Please say yes. I've joined. If you can see my. We'll wait for another 4-5 minutes for other guests to join in. Once they join, then we will start with the live session and what all is there on my radar for the next week and what is the future of the market. We'll talk about that. Those who are joining, please say yes. Hello, sir. Anuji, kaise hain aap? Thank you, sir. Thank you for the like. Sir, मेरा screen visible है and am I audible? Please say yes so that I can come to know that my voice and my systems are working properly. Market is very bad, sir. वो तो मैंने if you remember last to last week जब मैंने ये स्ट्रीम स्टार्ट किया था तभी मैंने एक हिंट दे दिया था कि मैंने ऐसा बुक कर लिया है. वी वर समवेयर हेयर जब ये वीकली क्लोजिंग हमारी हुई थी 25,500 के नीचे. So this level only in this stream only I told that I have closed my longs. Closed longs लिखा था मैंने इसमें. And maybe at that time people were not very happy with the decision and see after that what has happened. एक ये रिजेक्शन हुआ था. दिस वाज वन ट्रिगर दैट 26,300 से जब हमारा रिजेक्शन हुआ था. फिर सेकंड ट्रिगर ये था ये वाला रिजेक्शन 26,300 सेम पॉइंट पे मार्केट दोबारा रिजेक्ट हुई. डबल ट्रिपल टॉप बना 1 सेकंड थर्ड. तो ट्रिपल टॉप बन के दोबारा मार्केट नीचे आया. Some reverb in your voice. Okay, sir, I'll just set my mic. Is it better now? Amit Chandaji, is it better now? Okay, we'll wait for another 2-3 minutes, let others to join, and then we'll start with the. At times, voice reverb कर जाता है sir regarding the maybe some due to the network issues and all. Karen sir, start. Let's start with the. Uh, it was 8 p.m. The time is 8 p.m. now, so let's start. We'll not waste much of the time. I will briefly cover what I had predicted in the last few sessions and what is the outcome of that and what has happened till now in the Indian markets. So, what is the latest which has happened? I will just sum up some data which I have collated this before this stream. I was studying some articles and also going through the various financial newspapers which were there. So now in the last 14-15 days, the FPIs have dumped somewhere around 31,800 crore rupees worth of Indian stocks. The outflows hit a all-time high of about 52,000 crores. 52,700 crores का already एक high hit कर दिया है. The rupee has sunk to a 93 per dollar level, which is the weakest ever I have seen in my life. So 93 against $1 is the weakest I have seen in my life. US stock markets have dipped for the last 4 straight sessions. If you see US, the Dow Jones, if we talk about, it is trading somewhere at around 45,700. So I have marked all the charts. I will keep on updating you on those charts also. And what has happened to the crude? If we talk about the crude prices have risen by about 40%. The crude was trading somewhere around $65-70 a barrel. Now it is trading at about $110 to $120 a barrel. So the rise in crude prices. So what is this? How all these scenarios are going to affect us? If we talk about the Nifty and Sensex, they have fallen by about 9%, 7 to 9%. 29.5 lakh crore of wealth has been wiped out of the Indian financial markets in last 2 weeks. More than 400 stocks have fallen for the double digits in last 2 weeks. One single day drawdown was 14 lakh crore plus All this data I have taken out from the financial newspapers, the Economic Times and the Financial Express. So if we talk about the FPIs, they have pulled out about 34,000 crore rupees after the war began. So what is happening? The crude prices are going up. Crude prices per barrel is somewhere around 110, 120 rupees, 110, $120 a barrel. Crude oil jumped 40%. What are these going to contribute? These are all going to contribute directly to the increase in inflation. Rupee at record low of 93, 94. This all is going to exert an immense amount of financial and fiscal pressure on the Indian economy. So what will happen? 7% market गिर गया. Stocks somewhere around 14 to 15% they have dropped. IPOs are getting delayed. The IPOs, the papers who had, the companies who had filed papers with SEBI, they have delayed their IPOs. So there is a lot of uncertainty in the market. The banking and financial sectors are the heaviest hit. They have taken the heaviest hit. Why? Because the banking stocks are falling. Auto and realty stocks are falling. Mid cap and small caps are falling. So anything happening in the US, Iran, Israel war is directly affecting the Indian markets, and it is affecting in the worst manner. So I will just cover about the chart which is there, and what I had spoken about this chart earlier also when I was doing my teaching sessions for the students of my group. This rejection, the first rejection which happened, I believe Hindi is okay with everybody. Hindi English mix is okay, or you want me to speak in English only? So if you want any particular language, bata dena. I'll keep on speaking in Hindi and English mix. So in the first, when we were talking about these charts rejection which was taking place somewhere around this point, this was somewhere around late November. We saw the first rejection coming at around 36,300. This was the time we got alert. Second rejection came on again 36,300. The same level we got rejected, and again the Nifty saw a drawdown, and then there was a recovery, and again the same level 26,300 levels. So the three times rejection at the same level, we made a triple top over here in the Nifty. At 3 months we tried to break above 26,300 levels, but we were unable to break above these levels. What happened after that? Once we got rejected at these levels, there was an immense amount of resistance at these levels of 26,300. Multiple rejections, and then the markets corrected towards 25,500 levels. Again, we were unable to hold this zone of support, and this was covered adequately in my last stream when I did. मैंने बोला था कि भाई 25,400 level अगर break होता है, it is a level to watch for, that the Indian markets will crash and we will see something or the other. बाकी Israel, Iran war and all this was just a was just a one of the means that the markets have corrected. But we saw a great amount of pressure coming once this gap down opening was done on the charts, and then we just broke this level of 24,800, which was again a crucial level of support which was available in the India markets. Now, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, first week, second week, third week, and fourth week, we recovered in the initial first few days of the week, and we tried to recover to somewhere around 24,300 levels, but again we got rejected back and we broke 23,000. So we are now standing at about 23,000 levels in the Indian market. Now 23,000 is also a psychological support level for the Indian markets. Why? Because this level also, if you see in the history, we have reversed from these levels. Any weekly closing below 23,000 will be a big disaster for the Indian markets, and we expect to reach somewhere around 21,700 in next 4 weeks. This is my analysis for the Nifty in the coming 4 weeks. If we break below 23K and close below 23K on the weekly closing basis, we will hit somewhere around 21,700. That is somewhere around one more 13,000 points drop from the present levels. You can keep on asking questions also in the chat window because I can see your chat on the other screen. So this is my analysis for the Nifty in the coming days. Because why I am saying so, this is based on the analysis of the Dow. What I did last time also, I had see if we see the charts both of Nifty and the Dow, the first, second, third, and fourth week. So the US markets have corrected one-way direction for last 4 weeks. And there's a saying in the stock market: if US sneezes, the world catches cold. The Indian markets are not immune to what is happening in the global scenario. So once we have seen this fall, if we break 45,200 in the Dow Jones, 45,200, which is an immense strong zone of support for the US markets. If we break this level, then we will go somewhere around 44K in the Dow Jones also. So 45K in the US markets remains as a critical zone of support. That will dictate that we will break 23K or not. If 23K breaks in the Indian market, we will hit 21,700 levels on the Nifty. Now, what is my game plan? How many want to know what is my game plan if we break 21,700? Please say yes in the chat window so that I can come to know who all is active in the chat. Who all want to know my game plan? If the markets break 21,700, what will be the game plan? What will be my game plan? Please say yes in the chat window. I will cover that. Okay, Chanki sir, good evening. Say yes. Rama sir, good evening. Gagaji, good evening. Yes, very nice. Good to see good fast responses from the people, my old time followers. Okay, now what I will go back to the chart of Nifty. अभी Nifty का सबको clear हो गया कि क्या game plan है? 23K के आसपास हम रुके हैं और क्या हमने करना आगे, सब clear है? अगर नहीं क्लियर तो मैं एक बार दोबारा कवर कर दूंगा. निफ्टी का क्लियर हो गया सबको? व्हाट इज द गेम प्लान? 23K टूटा, अभी क्या करना है उसके बाद? ओके, नाउ आई विल जस्ट कवर व्हाट इज माय गेम प्लान. Once we hit these levels in the Nifty of 23K and we hit these levels of 21,700, I will accumulate LNT, which will be somewhere around 3,100 or between 2,900, 3,000 की range में. My first stock to accumulate for long term is LNT. This is no buy sell recommendation. If I pull the chart of LNT, I will just show you. I have already kept it in my watch list. See the levels what I have marked in LNT. I have told you that 3,100 to 3,000 levels. This was the high for LNT. 4438 was the high for LNT. It took support at 3,800 levels. Now, once the Nifty is going to break these levels, we will see LNT hitting somewhere on this chart of 3137 over here. 3137 is a good zone of support for LNT, and this I believe is a good level to accumulate LNT. That is why I am going to accumulate some of stocks of LNT at 3137 or 3,100 or 3,000 के बीच में for long term. The second stock, a US stock which is on my radar, is Tesla. Why Tesla? Again, I have marked the levels of Tesla. If we break 4,500, then the next level to accumulate, I will just mark the levels also over here. The next levels to accumulate Tesla will be about 280 to 90 levels. So why I will accumulate Tesla at these levels? Because I believe that good company with a good amount of sales in the US. So 290 levels is the level where I will accumulate Tesla. 290 to 80 levels in the US markets. This is when 45K breaks in the Dow Jones, Dow futures. Clear? Any other questions? If you want to ask any questions, I will cover that. I have covered briefly what is the next scenario of the Indian markets. If we break these levels, Sir, how confident you are about Tesla's future? Sir, once the US markets once the US markets reverse, I see Tesla again moving back to the previous levels of somewhere around 310, 350 levels. So this is how the sir, they are going to get clearances for their other cars also. What the driverless car trials have gone through, and they'll get the approval. So that is why I'm confident about Tesla's future. And the second stock which I'm eyeing is to accumulate LNT. I have not accumulated LNT till now, though it is the levels are looking very attractive, but I have not accumulated till now. So I will accumulate these stocks at these present levels only. So, any other questions if you have? So, I will just cover briefly what will happen. The inflation fear will now set in the Indian markets. The oil prices will rise, higher inflation. RBI may delay the rate cuts, which is very, very negative for the Indian stock markets. So, the global risk of sentiment is also very high. S&P 500 is also down for multiple weeks now. And what will happen next? The bear case scenario, if we take, if the war escalates, then I will talk about the two, three scenarios. The bear case scenario, if the war escalates, we will further see a fall of about 2 to 4% in the Indian market. So, this level of, I will just talk about Nifty. Let me show you the chart of Nifty. If the war escalates, we will see another fall of this level, 21,700 levels coming in Nifty. So, more FI panic will spread, FI panic, and then the rupee will weaken. The rupee weakens, and oil, I feel, will cross somewhere around $120 per barrel. So that is the bear case scenario which I feel will happen. The weak sentiment is already there in the market. There is a lot of negative emotion in the market. There is a lot of fear in the market. So panic selling is happening by. I will say that more panic selling will happen by the FI. So the key levels to watch for again remains. What are the key levels? The key levels, I will write it down. Somebody wants to take a screenshot, can take. Key levels remain 23K for the Indian markets, Nifty. Once 23K breaks, we will head for 21,700. Why I am saying 1300 points drop from here? Because the next zone of support is somewhere around this levels of the Indian markets. बीच में कोई support नहीं है. So 23K remains a strong zone of support. If we break that, we will hit 21,700. The simple conclusion is the biggest triggers will remain the oil prices and the FI flows. If the FI outflows increase, the trend what we have seen, the markets will go down. The oil prices increase, the inflation pressure will increase, and it will again exert extra pressure on the Indian markets, and we'll see the Indian markets going southwards. Okay, any other questions? Any questions anybody wants to ask? So you can ask questions, I will cover that. Any other questions from any stock related queries? If you want, I will pull out a chart and explain that chart also to you. And if you want to talk about any sector in particular, I'll cover that sector also in detail. The key factors, what I feel, have generally remained behind the selling are the geopolitical uncertainty which is there because of the Middle East tensions that has triggered a risk of flows and selling in the global markets. Global yield and valuation also have led the FIs to rotate their money into more other markets and other assets. But on the contrary, I am seeing a reversal happening. Last 18 years, the gold has not corrected so much. It corrected in 1984, and now the gold prices have corrected this week so much. About 17% the gold prices have corrected from somewhere around 5,000 to 4,500. So, but in gold, if I talk about the metals, bullion, we are still above the 200, this 30-week moving average line, which is my indicator for the zone of good zone of support, which is there at about 4300. So I'll keep a close watch on about 4300 for the gold. This is in dollars, right? So 4300 again remains a good zone of support for the gold, and we have always seen that this line of a 30-week moving average has always been respected by the gold. If I go back to July 2025, if I go back a year back also, this chart is on the weekly time frame. You will always see that this line has got always been respected by the gold. See over here, good amount of support this line has provided. So I believe that the gold will hold 4300. And if we talk about the silver, silver again has corrected from the top, and again it's $67, somewhere around $66, $65 remain a good zone of support for silver, because both gold and silver are trading above the 30-week moving average. So once they are trading above the 30-week moving average, we say that they are in the bullish phase only, and these corrections are temporary. Right? Any other questions? Sir, I've covered, Gurpreet sir, I've covered silver and gold both, because I knew people will ask about gold and silver, so I've covered that. Okay, NTPC, I will cover NTPC now. Let me pull the chart of NTPC. NTPC. Let's see what is NTPC doing. Okay. Okay. Now, why I have switched to NTP to Ichimoku Kinkoyo? While I use Ichimoku Kinkoyo extensively in my all chart readings. Sir, NTPC will NTPC, if we see the trend till now, the markets have survived the bearish trend which was there in the market. So there is a sideways movement which has started in NTPC. Though where we see most of the more than 400 stocks have corrected to about double digits in the Indian markets due to the this war scenario, and TPC has remained stable, and it will move sideways between a range of 362 to somewhere about 395. So this sideways movement will continue, where it will like to consolidate and then give a breakout above 395 levels for a target of somewhere around 440 levels in the medium to long term. So this is what is my analysis about the NTPC. We will, if I have to enter, I will wait for the breakout to happen above 395 for a target of 440 with my stop loss at somewhere around 362 levels, where the trend will get invalidated. Stop at 362 levels. Next question is Segility Limited. I will just pull the chart of Segility. Let me see. Not very good scenario on the charts. The Segility, if we see, this zone of support is somewhere around 37 levels. But since Segility is presently trading below the chart, below the cloud, I will not advise to enter. Over here. Not checking the fundamentals of the stock, but I see a bearish trend in Segility. We see a bearish trend over here. The resistance, the drawdown is heavy, And once it breaks these levels of 37, we could see 25 to 26 levels in a shorter time frame coming soon. So, Sagility, I will say avoid. If you are not added, please avoid the stock. Okay, next stock is some named as Cupid. Okay, Cupid. Let me see what is Cupid doing. Cupid, okay. Now, again, a zone of support of Cupid is somewhere right around these levels of 73. 73 remains a good zone of support. The RSI is also not in the overbought zone, showing a good strength. The RSI is also showing a good strength. So you can hold if you are holding with a stop loss of 73, and again with a target of about 100 plus in the short term scenario. There is still a good amount of strength in the trend which is there, because we see there is no obstruction in front of the Chicago span. Also, we see that the rejections have happened at the higher levels. So it has to break above these levels for the further uptrend. You can hold with a stop loss if you have accumulated, hold with a stop loss of 73. If not added, wait. So this is the level to add, somewhere around 65 to 70 के बीच में add करना ठीक रहेगा सर. Okay, next is precision pipes. Last question for the day. Precision wires. Again, a few stocks which have not corrected with the bearish market scenario. Precision is again one of them. Good bullish trend in precision with good volumes. See, the rise of price has taken place with good volumes happening. The cloud is also rising. Once the cloud is rising, we see that the price is also rising. So it is still in a bullish trend despite the bearish market scenario. ये सब जो होते हैं ना, ये इंडिकेटर्स होते हैं कि स्टॉक में स्ट्रेंथ है कि नहीं. कई स्टॉक अगर मार्केट गिरा तो स्टॉक भी गिर गया, तो उसके बाद दैट शोज दैट द स्टॉक इज वीक. But on the contrary, if the market is bearish, whereas the stock is rising, that shows that the stock has good fundamentals. And stock is going against the trend, against the major trend of the market. So that shows the strength in the stock. So you can shortlist these kind of stocks and keep it in your radar. Whenever you get time, you can explore them, see their fundamentals on the apps available for free, and then you can see whether you want to invest in that or not. Okay, Bitcoin cover kar दूँ. Anybody wants to hear about Bitcoin? I'll cover that. अगर say yes in the chat window if you want me to cover Bitcoin. अगर नहीं करना, then I will not cover. Do you want me to cover Bitcoin? What is the future of Bitcoin and what is going to happen and what is my analysis about Bitcoin? If you want to hear that, say yes in the chat window. और यार लाइक भी कर दो. I think few of you have liked my video and the effort what I am doing. You want me to cover Bitcoin? Say yes in the chat window. yes तो बोल, एक ही yes है. Okay, Gaveji only wants to hear about Bitcoin. बाकी I think they are not. Okay, चलो, no problems. I'll cover Bitcoin. This is a weekly chart of Bitcoin. I will just cover Bitcoin. This is a weekly chart of Bitcoin, and I feel that the markets, the Bitcoin has corrected sharply, and then a bearish flag was formed somewhere around 90k, and we broke below this bearish flag, and then there was a great again the bearish market continued, and we moved from 90k levels to about 73k levels, and then 73 was again a zone of support. This was the zone of support for Bitcoin. We again are hitting that zone of support. As per the rule of polarity, the zone of support once broken becomes the zone of resistance. Now we are unable to cross and give a closing above 73.5k or above 74k. If the Bitcoin closes above these levels, we will see somewhere about 98k coming in Bitcoin. So the key level for the Bitcoin to break is 74k for the bullish trend to continue. And if it breaks below somewhere about 60 or 61k, we will see Bitcoin hitting somewhere around 53k. So right now it is in the no trade zone. I will only enter trade in Bitcoin above 74k. My bullish trade will be for a target of 98k. That is the base of the cloud. And if I have to take a bearish trade, that will be below 60k for a target of 53k. So that is my plan in Bitcoin. In short, I have covered the levels of Bitcoin and what is the scenario in Bitcoin, though I feel that 74k will break soon and we will see Bitcoin hitting 94k or these levels again. Right? Thank you everybody for joining, and this was my analysis for Bitcoin, and I have covered the Bitcoin in detail, and there's a lot of panic in the market. But please stay invested. There is nothing to worry. Markets have fallen and have risen always. See the COVID fall. See what happened in 2007. See what happened in 2001. So we have again risen and given a 24 to 30% plus returns. So market गिरता है, market और इंसान ने ऊपर ही जाना है. Thank you. Thanks a lot. And those who have not liked, please like. And if you want to let me know if you want to learn technical analysis, please WhatsApp learn to the number being flashed on the screen. Thank you.